All right, on today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to analyze a property for rent. We have a lot of folks that are interested in investing, but it feels like a huge task, feels daunting. So I'm going to break it down for you very simply so you can see what we do to help analyze a property. As a reminder, I'm Mike Thornton. I'm a realtor here in the Wheaton, Glen Ellyn area, just west of Chicago. If you have any needs or just want to talk real estate, please send us a message. We'd love to connect with you, or you can set up a discovery call with us. The link is in the description. Would love to connect. But let's jump into this. This was an actual property that we analyzed. Let's just call it 123 Main Street. This is one that was listed for 365. So let's do an analysis based on that. Let's say, okay, this is listed for 365. What's interesting about this property is it's a single family home, but there's actually an opportunity to rent out the lower level. There's a separate entrance. There's a kitchenette down there. And so when comping this, obviously we need to decide, are we going to rent the entire home to one tenant, or are we going to rent to two separate tenants? And then what does that do to the value? The highest and best use on this property, and it's something that at least our client was willing to manage, is to rent out the upstairs and potentially Airbnb the basement. Now, to do that, where this was located, there's some restrictions. You might have to rent it out for 30 days at a time. So obviously you need to be aware of what the rules are. But let's just jump into the document because I think could be helpful for you. Now, the one challenge with real estate in today's market is the fact that you have to put a bit of equity into the deal to make sure everything cash flows enough to where you're not losing month over month. Now, when the interest rates were much lower, that was a different story. But let's just assume we're going to put 30% down. Let's say our closing costs are going to be closer to 1.5 times the purchase price between loan origination fees, all that good stuff. And let's say that we have to put about 15,000 into the property. We're going to finance the rest, and let's call it 7.875% over 30 years. Now, we're going to say it's one unit for the sake of this calculator. This is the tax rate. This is the insurance roughly. But obviously, this is where we need to play with the rent. Let's assume we're going to have two tenants. We're going to have an upstairs for about, let's call it 2,000 a month, or I'm sorry, 2,500 a month. Let's say we can pull another 1,300 from downstairs. Now we still will carry a vacancy rate. Now, because half of this is going to be Airbnb, there could be a slightly higher vacancy rate than typical. So let's put 7% in there. This will be managed professionally. So let's put that fee in there. And there will be a cost to turning this over on the upstairs unit if it's going to be listed on the MLS. So let's just say that's going to be 1 month's rent, and the average tenant's going to be in for about 1.5 years. You have some maintenance costs. There's no HOA or anything like that. And the utilities would be on the tenant, at least for the upstairs. And they're going to, let's just say they flip the whole bill here. So you kind of see how some of the numbers break down. You have your gross rental income, you have your vacancy, and then you have your net rental income. And then from there, you can calculate your net operating income each month after backing out property management, all that good stuff. So this would be, in this example, a fairly low cap rate, what you're operating versus your purchase price. Now, if you were to increase this, obviously, if you could pull, more, those numbers change to some pretty decent numbers. But let's just say it's 3,800, and this is the scenario, right? Now, if you were to finance, a different portion of this, obviously the numbers change. Cash on cash changes because you have more equity in the deal, and then the cap rate gets a little bit better because you don't have to pay, that higher interest payment or mortgage payment due to interest. So here we have it. Let's just say this is what you're looking at. You have your net operating income per month. You have your principal and interest. Your cash flow is about 500 every single month. So you're going to basically add to your asset column with just over $6,300 per year. You would have principal pay down here. This was bottomed out because it was originally a cash deal, but let's just say you're going to have about 5,000 in principal pay down. What I would do here in this calculator is I would actually go over to an amortization schedule calculator and see kind of what that first year benefit is. Obviously, it gets only better from there as each payment goes a little bit more towards equity. You have your rough appreciation rate. That's at 4.5% assumption. And then you have your depreciation, which is also a benefit of owning rental real estate, where you can depreciate the structure over 27 and a half years. So here's the beauty about real estate is it's not only about the cash flow, which again is a little bit more modest in today's environment, but you still have the principal pay down, you still have the appreciation, which is greater than it's ever been, and you still have those tax benefits. So, you have $31,000 towards your asset column, and that's not so bad based on putting about 110 in to start with. So this is just here you go, total investment 129. So you can kind of see here, if you outlay that much cash, how much you earn back in the first year. And again, that could increase as your principal pay down gets a little bit better, but that's roughly what you're looking at. That's just one way to analyze a rental property. If you're interested in knowing more or just want a copy of this calculator, feel free to reach out to us. Shoot us a note. We'll put some contact information in the description so that you can have this at your disposal. Talk soon.